student meteorologist Elizabeth Temple. Thank you for joining us on this Friday edition of FSU Weather, starting out with our live look over Doak Campbell Stadium. Absolutely beautiful evening right now. It's 87 degrees outside, and it is partly cloudy, as you can see in the camera right there. And those feels-like temperatures, those heat indices, sitting around where the normal temperature is. A few places are a little bit warmer just because it's a little humid outside. Like it feels like 90 in Monticello, 85 in Greenville right now. And so radar looking very dry right now. A few possible little pop-up showers along the coast over here, but not much to worry about as far as rain goes. And for tonight, we're going to be tracking Tropical Storm Ophelia that has just formed off the coast of off the east coast of the country, and it's fall coming to Tallahassee with the first week of fall coming up. And it's been hot, but how hot has it really been in comparison to what it's supposed to be? All that and more tonight on FSU Weather.
Good evening, Tallahassee. Welcome to your Friday edition of FSU Weather. And guess what? Tomorrow is the first day of fall. How do you feel about that?
I can't wait. I love fall. It's my favorite season. There is a board over there with the question of the week. I put fall, and only one other person put fall.
It was me.
It was you?
It was me.
Okay, well, we love fall.
Season.
We love fall.
Yes, so very excited. What are you excited for the most about fall?
I am originally from right outside of Tampa, and nothing fall happens really. And I enjoyed when I came to FSU at first and I saw the leaves were actually changing colors, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love it. Like, I love the orange, I love the colors, I love the vibe.
Yeah, we're gonna learn all about how the leaves change colors, all that and more. But what else are we looking for in tonight's segment?
So we have a dry and nice weekend coming up if you're planning on watching the football game here in Tallahassee or wherever you may be. Yeah.
And then also we're going to take a look at some national weather, take a little peek into Ophelia just a little bit, and see what we've got going on with the climate.
Of course. And so now, what is going on locally, Priscilla?
Yeah, locally, like you said, we've got those great conditions going on. As we take a peek at our area cameras right now, Tallahassee, Thomasville, St. George, and St. Mark's are all looking absolutely stunning. Just a couple clouds in the sky, but other than that, absolutely beautiful. Currently for our temperatures, we're sitting in the mid-80s, which is, rather a little more comfortable, but, still slightly warm for this time of year. But, what can we say? This is Florida. As for our winds, we do have some stronger winds in southern Georgia, 14 miles per hour in Bainbridge and 12 in Thomasville, and some lower winds here in Tallahassee and the lower Florida segments. So not too much wind, but again, comfortable temperatures, and those slight breezes are keeping the temperatures more consistent and cool. As for our dew points, we're starting to see these lower as we go further and further into the fall semester here at Florida State. And this is probably just about my favorite part of fall and the changing of the seasons. Our dew points are lowering, and things are getting less muggy, more dry, and you can just kind of stand to be outside a little more. You don't have to worry about humidity and your hair going everywhere and looking crazy. Locally for our radar, we see not a lot of precipitation, not too much activity on the radar, but again, this is what's giving our great opportunities to get outside this weekend. So if you want to maybe hit up the coast, go to the beach, today actually, this weekend, would be a great opportunity to do so. And just regardless, get outside, enjoy the clear skies and sunny weather. And as for the future radar, again, we're not seeing a whole lot of activity, but again, this is just increasing your opportunity to take advantage of the excellent conditions. As for our rainfall forecast, again, like I said, we're seeing just about the same story going on through the rest of the weekend and keeping the Big Bend area very clear. If you want to head out and go stargazing tonight, it's going to be 61 degrees and partly cloudy, and our sunset's going to be at 7:34. So, but the conditions are going to be mostly fair for seeing the the stargazing forecast. But, if you want to head out tomorrow, take a little hike around town, great chance to do so. especially if you're going to head out early in the morning, take advantage of those cooler morning temperatures and the drier conditions. It's going to be sunny all day, peaking around 87 at 5 p.m., and it's going to be a great opportunity. And Sunday, if hiking is not your thing, you just want to take the dog for a walk, that's great for you too, because it's going to be very comfortable, especially in the morning, when your dog has to go out. And look at that little dog right there. That's Aaron's dog, actually. But for the week ahead, we're seeing very comfortable temperatures sitting in the low 60s, or my bad, mid 60s for our lows, and comfortably upper 80s for our highs. But Ryan, what's next?
Well, the rest of the state is also looking pretty similar. Nice, clear conditions all across the area. Pensacola, Jacksonville, Tampa, Miami Beach. Miami being the only one seeing a couple of clouds and maybe a few thunderstorms around, but overall, we're all sitting in the 80s, Tampa in the upper 80s, and we're all looking clear for right now and comfortable. Current temperatures across the state, 85 in West Palm, 88 in Tampa, 82 in Pensacola and Jacksonville. So all across the Panhandle into the Big Bend, we're staying nice and comfortable. 86 down in the Keys if you find yourself out there fishing, maybe some comfortable conditions. Just as we get towards like the I-4, I-75 corridor, further down south, that's where we're really going to notice our humidity start to increase. But overall, we're not where we were in the summertime pattern. We're in more of a comfortable pattern right now. And there's Ophelia staying off the Outer Banks of the Carolinas. But what's coming in behind that is some nice dry air, and that's really going to help us stay dry throughout the weekend. Here's a look at the radar right now, and there's showers kind of surrounding the state of Florida, but right in the inland part of Florida, we're nice and dry. So again, Ophelia up here, and then just kind of some moisture hanging around off the coast, and a couple pop-up sprinkles down the I-4 corridor. And as we look at the future radar, we'll see some sprinkles and storms pop up near the Keys and into Miami, maybe parts of Dade and Broward County getting some of that. And some of them on Sunday will start to work their way further to the north along the I-4 corridor. But for the most part, the state is staying dry, especially as we work into the Big Bend and Panhandle. Most of us staying dry, just a few of us seeing up to about half an inch, maybe up to an inch of rain in some spots, especially closer to Miami. But temperature-wise, we're also staying comfortable getting up and out the door tomorrow. Many spots are going to be in the 60s, some in the low 70s. Key West by 7:30 tomorrow already hitting 80 degrees. And seeing some of those storms work their way through. And then into the afternoon, that's when we'll start to kind of see that bright sunshine. 87 degrees in Tallahassee, 84 in Jacksonville, down the I-4 corridor, 84 in Orlando, 87 in Tampa, and then down the coastline, we're seeing 88 in Fort Myers, 83 in Miami, and 84 in Key West. And then as we work our way into Sunday morning, some spots waking up in the 60s into Alachua, maybe Marion County waking up in the 60s. Us in Tallahassee as well waking up in the 60s. And then further down, temperatures start to warm just a little bit. And then by 3 o'clock, if you're watching some pro football or if you're getting out and about, the temperatures are going to be nice and warm. Getting warm kind of quickly, 90 in Tallahassee and Gainesville, 89 in Orlando. And then some of those showers and storms will start to work their way near Lake Okeechobee and some of the southern regions of the state. But the weekend forecast for Miami is looking great. Just a couple of showers and storms to play with, but as we work our way further up the coast, that's where conditions really start to improve. Rain chances topping out about 20% into the 90s for Jacksonville and Tampa. Here's kind of a rinse and repeat of Jacksonville. Those rain chances do start to build come Monday. Pensacola as well, you're staying nice and comfortable if you're heading out to the beach. Great conditions all around the board. But Elizabeth, how's the rest of the Southeast looking?
Well, I know that we've all been saying that the state of Florida has been looking very dry, but that is not the case in some portions of the Southeast, especially along the east coast of the country due to Tropical Storm Ophelia. So especially on this camera down in Charleston, they're already experiencing some of this rain from the storm, but looks nice in Atlanta, Huntsville, and in New Orleans right now. So here are these current temperatures across the Southeast. Mid to upper 80s for the majority of the area, 92 in Jackson, a little nicer down in Charlotte and in Charleston right now, 75 and 73 because of that rain right now. But again, it's another very hot evening. And these dew points slightly lower than what we have been seeing, but still on the muggier side as compared to this brown shading on the other side of the country. Lower 60s to mid 60s. Some places, though, are in the 50s for your dew points as well right now. So here is that water vapor map, we have Ophelia on the, wrong way, right over here off of the coast right here. A lot of moisture in the center of that storm right now, but that is going to be bringing actually some drier air across the southeast into the northern part, northern into central Florida for the weekend. And the radar, there is Ophelia on the radar over there, spinning around off of the coast. We do have some showers as well in Arkansas and Louisiana right now, some of them with some heavier rain, but that is really all to speak of at the moment. So the future radar shows Ophelia making landfall and heading out of our way by Saturday afternoon, and some more of those stronger storms will be heading into the southeast by Sunday afternoon with some heavier pockets of rain and clouds for the area. And so here's that rainfall forecast. Really not too much rain until we head into Sunday, where we'll see 1.5 to 2.5 inches in the northwestern part of the region, and of course on the east coast over there due to the storm. So these future temperatures for tomorrow morning, starting out pretty cool in most areas, lower 60s, Nashville and east over there, but as we head closer to the central part of the state, low to mid 70s, 74 in Shreveport and 75 in New Orleans. But Saturday afternoon, another hot one, 94 by 3 o'clock in Shreveport, 91 in Little Rock. And for Sunday morning and Sunday afternoon, more of the same as Saturday. And so here are the 3-day forecasts for a few of those cities, mainly a warm and dry weekend unless you are on the coast. So nationally, what are we looking at, Priscilla?
Thank you, Elizabeth. Nationally, you know, we're looking at a pretty comfortable weekend, exactly, unless, you know, you're in the coastal regions where Ophelia will be striking very soon. But otherwise, we're sitting pretty comfortable in our temperatures, regardless of Texas being very hot, as always, and the southern portions of the southeast. But regardless, we've got some nice temperatures. And again, our dew point map is looking very interesting. We've got lots of dryness over in the western portions of the United States. We've even got a dew point of 28 in Albuquerque, which is extremely, extremely dry. But, you know, we've got the line of markation as we head into the eastern parts of the country, where we've got a lot more moist dew points, you know, really affecting the moisture in the air and keeping things a little more humid than the other portions of the United States. For our surface map, we've got a handful of stationary systems, but it's not going to affect areas too much, as well as a cold front in the western portion of the country that's going to affect and move eastward throughout the rest of the week. But other than that, we've got a high over here in the northeast and generally pleasant conditions regardless of Ophelia on the eastern seaboard. And taking a look into our future radar, mostly we're just looking forward to a lot of cloud cover, some precipitation in the Great Plains central area and into the northwest regions as well, and in the northeast as well. So if you're in any of those areas with precipitation, definitely be aware, especially if you are in a flood zone. Make sure you know your risk for flood zone, because we do have potential for flooding in areas of Montana, North and South Dakota, and portions of Oklahoma and the Midwest as well. So, and again, Ophelia, our story of the day, is definitely going to have some risks for flooding this weekend. For our rainfall forecast throughout the next couple days, we're seeing up to maybe 1.5 inches of rain, and then building up as we head into Sunday, seeing upwards of 3.5, maybe even up to 3, 4, 5 inches in the Midwest and northern regions, and again, seeing closer to 5 or 8 inches in the eastern sections of the country, striking South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, those areas. As for our watches and warnings, we're looking pretty safe throughout most of the country. Again, we do have the, we've got a couple severe weather, thunderstorm alerts, and we've got our flooding watches and warnings and tropical storm watches on the eastern portions of the country. As for winds throughout the weekend, we're sitting pretty nice and comfortable, less than 20 miles per hour winds in most sections of the country, other than, again, South North Carolina and Virginia, looking very windy with those tropical storm force winds. That's definitely something to be aware of as you head into the weekend. But things will clear out as we head throughout the rest of the weekend. For our temperatures, we're going to be nice and comfortable tomorrow morning, sitting at 60s and 50s in the eastern upper portions. Pretty warm down in Texas, but pretty moderate throughout the rest of the state, throughout the country. But, you know, now we're going to take a look into a couple of our weekend forecasts. New York, it's going to be raining. Minneapolis, it's going to be raining again with that stationary front. Dallas, we're going to see effects from that front heading into Sunday and Monday. Salt Lake, sitting pretty high and warm. And Los Angeles, again, dry and comfortable in the California desert region. But, you know, Ryan, what are we looking at for our lifestyle?
Yeah, and taking a look across the country, we saw some, good conditions for flying. Just want to pay attention to New York. We saw a couple delays start early off with wind issues at JFK. So if you're flying out of JFK, just check with your airline. Maybe a couple of delays. I think delays were running like 30 to 45 minutes there. Elsewhere across the country, we're looking good. And if you're flying out of Tallahassee tomorrow or tonight, you're looking good as well. 84 degrees right now at Tallahassee International Airport. We're not expecting any delays. And then as we work into nighttime hours, maybe a nighttime flight, you're also going to be looking quite all right. In the morning, maybe an early morning flight, 63 degrees, and nice drive over to Tallahassee International Airport. Or if you're staying local and hitting up College Town tonight, 77 degrees at 9 p.m. At midnight, we're working our way into the 60s by early morning hours. So definitely if you have something to keep you warm, you might want to bring that, because if you're heading out on I-10 or wherever you're going tomorrow, there are going to be a little bit of a cooler start to the day. As we start to warm up, however, we do warm up kind of quickly. 85 degrees by 1 o'clock, and then by about 3 or 5 o'clock, we're getting into the upper 80s. So overall, we've got, dry roads, but it's going to be, kind of starting off cool, and then we're going to be warming up quickly. If you're hitting up the beach, we've also got some great weather for you. You may want to pay a little bit of attention to rip currents, but overall, water temperature is going to be comfortable, as well as temperatures in the mid-80s. Winds, a little nice light shop. Florida State Seminole is going up to Death Valley this week and playing Clemson. And if you're in Clemson, or if you're in South Carolina for a game, we've got great weather for you. 76 degrees at kickoff, and then by about halftime, it's going to be warming up just a little bit to 81 degrees. Showers and storms not expected, as Ophelia kind of brings some dry air behind that. But if you're going to church on Sunday morning, praying that your pro football team wins maybe, it'll be a nice kind of start for the day, up and out early. 72 degrees for that 9 a.m. service, and then by about 11 o'clock, 83 degrees. So maybe if you're going and getting donuts after church, or if you're going to a Sunday picnic, we've got a great forecast for that as well. 86 degrees by 1 o'clock. Warm up to 90, so it's going to get a little bit hot and plenty of sunshine, so maybe bring some sunscreen with you. But overall, it's going to be a nice kind of day to be outside on Sunday. Or if you're want to go see number 1 UNC is playing, right, or in Chapel Hill, I should say, 73 degrees by 1 o'clock. And then by 2 o'clock, we've got plenty of great temperatures for you. Over in Jacksonville, we've got pro football. Great weather for that. And then for Monday night or Sunday night football, we've also got great weather, 83 degrees. And since the Raiders are in a dome, that won't play as much of an effect. And then for into the weekend, we've got great conditions all across Tallahassee. But Elizabeth, we've also got the start of fall. Look at those temperatures. We're getting into the 60s. It's nice and comfortable, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, but it's those high temperatures that really are not making it seem like that, but we'll talk about that in just a little bit. So how do you feel about fall? I know that me and Priscilla like fall. Do you like fall?
I'm neutral about it. I like the weather. I'm not like a pumpkin spice latte person, so I guess there are aspects of fall I like. I definitely like seeing the leaves change. You're from Tampa, I'm from Orlando. We don't really get to see that.
Yeah.
And then now we're starting to really notice, these temperatures start to work their way more into a comfortable weekend, and just a nice stretch of weather ahead.
Yeah, of course. So this weekend is the autumn equinox. So this is the astronomical start of fall. So basically what that's about is that is going to be on September 23rd, so tomorrow morning at 2:50 a.m. exactly. So that is basically just when the sun directly is the sun is directly over the equator, so that is going to really, I don't really know much about fall, actually.
So the sun kind of is, equal. So in both hemispheres, we're both kind of seeing, as the southern hemisphere comes into spring, we're starting to, get in the fall, temperatures rise in the southern hemisphere and start to fall in the northern hemisphere where we are. So we're seeing kind of our first taste of fall with these temperatures, and it's what a lot of us will call false fall because we'll heat up again, and high temperatures are still in the 90s. We're getting a little taste.
Of course, yeah. So we'll have these nicer conditions, and then hopefully within a few weeks, we'll be able to see some nicer conditions heading into November, probably.
We're getting closer, and if you go outside and look at the leaves across Tallahassee, they're still green. They still think it's summer, but across some states, including like Minnesota, into Wyoming, the Dakotas, they're already starting to see some of their leaves start to change. And then a lot of the U.S. actually does see the leaves change. Just the southeast kind of is either later in the year or doesn't see it at all, especially as here in Florida.
Yeah, so if you're in the southeast, expect your leaves to change starting in November. And here's some of the reasons why the leaves change color. So with the cooler weather, the tree's chlorophyll is going to break down, and it is leaving other chemicals that will cause these color changes. So here are the different chemicals if you are a science-y person like us, even though we don't really mess with the plants like that. But
this is beyond my level of science, I think.
Exactly. But yeah, so the bright colors are more likely during the late summer, where we have autumn with the sunny days and the cool nights.
So let's take a look. We've talked a lot about fall. Let's talk a little bit about the climate of Tallahassee and the Florida region, Elizabeth.
Oh, they changed the camera before I was ready. So you saw me getting up to get back to the wall. So we have our high temperatures over the past 31 days, so lots of above average days. Not too many below average days, which has not been very nice for us, but look at Friday, August 25th, 102 degrees for our high, and mid to upper 90s mainly for the majority of the month, so very much above average. Today, however, was much closer to our average. We actually reached our high temperature average for today, and our low temperature was not too quite off, but we wouldn't have been surprised to see 97 given what we've been experiencing the past few weeks. So our future temperature anomalies very much above average in the central part of the state, and actually in the Great Lakes region as well, a little bit below average in the northwest. So, and then by this weekend, we'll start to move that those above average conditions closer to the east, and then by Sunday afternoon, we'll see it here in Tallahassee, but especially basically in the entire state of Texas, looking very much above average, as well as our low temperatures will be above average for the entire central part of the state right now, and then even more above average heading up into 20 degrees above average, if you can look at that key up there. Below average minimum temperatures for us, but then that'll slightly go away as we head into Sunday. So our 6 to 10 day temperature anomaly outlook, most of the country above average right now, except for the western part of the country, but especially in the Midwest, heading towards the East Coast and into the state of Florida, likely and leaning above average. And it's also incredibly dry. We are going to be likely above average mainly for the northwestern part of the country, but everyone else is going to be very much below average. And that has what has been causing this drought, especially over the Gulf Coast into the Gulf Coast of Texas, New Orleans, and even some drought in the state of Florida. I've been in Tampa all summer. We saw hardly any rain. It was pretty much unbearable, especially for lots of the other parts of the country where they're seeing an exceptional drought in some places. So it is going to get better, though. Don't worry, because we have our El Nino oscillation, which that is going to cause some wetter winter-like, well, not winter-like, wetter winter conditions for the rest of the year. So let's take one last look at the local, right?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, again, looking locally, we're sitting very comfortable around the Big Bend, sitting near mid 80s. Very comfortable, and it's going to cool down, especially as we head through the night. But for our winds, we've got some slight winds here in Florida and some stronger winds more inland in Bainbridge at 10 miles per hour, Thomasville at 10 miles per hour as well. But here in Tallahassee, we've got winds at 6 miles per hour, so that's keeping the air moving and keeping us very comfortable. Very nice, I might add, to keep your windows down if you're taking a little drive, just really driving anywhere in town. You can really feel the change in temperature, especially with those winds. As for our dew points, we're starting to see them lower as we head further into fall, and especially with some slight drier conditions associated with the western side of Ophelia. So we've got a 69-degree dew point in Monticello, 62 in St. Mark's, and a little bit drier in Donaldsonville and Bainbridge at 53 and 58, respectively. For our radar, we're not seeing a bunch of activity being picked up on the radar because, again, we are dry and clear for the rest of the weekend. Honestly, we're not even seeing a whole lot of cloud coverage either, which is absolutely incredible. You know, if you want to go head out for that hike tomorrow morning, take your dog for a walk on Sunday, this is the weekend. Take this while you can before it gets really cold, except will it really here in Tallahassee? I guess we'll find out. For our Friday night forecast, if you're headed out, it's going to be 61 degrees later on tonight with winds from the northeast at 3 miles per hour and partly cloudy. So I don't know about you guys, but I am heading out tonight. I might adjust my wardrobe to reflect this temperature, and I hope you will as well. If you want to head out to the res tomorrow, great opportunity, 89 degrees, sunny and warm with 5 miles per hour winds. It's going to be a great opportunity to get on that water before the res closes up. And if you want to head out tomorrow night might be slightly better, 65 degrees with calmer winds, and it's going to be a lot clearer. So it might be nice to actually stargaze tomorrow evening. If you want to head out into your backyard, on Sunday it's going to be 92 degrees, sunny and warm, and overall very comfortable. But for our week ahead, we've seen those lower lows hitting the 60s and lower 60s, as well as warmer highs, but again, drier conditions. We're not really seeing rain until we head into Wednesday. But, you know, it's been a great show, Ryan. You know, I know you don't like pumpkin spice lattes, but is there at least something that you can enjoy about fall?
I think the temperatures we can all agree about fall, just, you know, especially living in Florida, we're going from, you know, almost 90, mid-90s every day, finally starting to work our way cooler into the 60s and 70s. I think we can all kind of be thankful for that.
Yeah, for sure. I know I'm excited to not be sweating on my way to class. You know, actually be able to wear layers and something other than shorts will be nice. But
Absolutely.
do you at least like pumpkin carving or?
Pumpkin carving, pumpkin
Corn
pie.
maze?
I'm just not a big fan of pumpkin spice lattes, and I
That's
feel like it
okay.
kind of overdoes the fall aesthetic.
Okay. Well,
Some people overdo it, and I see Elizabeth just jaw dropped like, I don't have any pumpkins in my apartment. I don't have any like fall decorations. I'm just trying to get through to tomorrow. I'm not decorating my apartment.
Unlike you, we are decorating at my house. We've already got some bats up, even though it's not even October yet, and we've got some cool fall decorations, a couple pumpkins here and there. But I know I'm excited for this drier, cool weekend and clear.
I think I might be turning myself into the fall Grinch. I like the
Yeah, you are.
temperatures. I like the you know, feel. I'll buy myself a pumpkin pie by Halloween or like Thanksgiving. I'm just like, you know what? It's, you know, it's another season, a little bit cooler, and then Christmas is just around the corner. So we're working our way closer and closer to winter, and maybe a little bit of a break from school. But if you have a quick break, you can follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/FSU Weather.
And, you know, make sure to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/FSU Weather. And, you know, make sure to keep watching us live on YouTube and subscribe while you're at it. And follow us on Instagram for some recent updates and taking a look at our team leader spotlights throughout the week. But again, here's one last look at the 7-day.
Yeah, we've had a look at the team leaders, and how about TikTok as well? We've got TikTok on there, and taking a look across the national, we've got plenty of nice conditions. We are going to be tracking Ophelia until the weekend, but other than that, we've got temperatures especially as we kind of work our way into the overnight and in the morning, especially out west. We're seeing more comfortable. Into Texas and Oklahoma, that's where we're starting to notice those hotter temperatures. And then all across by Sunday morning, waking up nice and comfortable across the entire U.S. And then by Sunday afternoon, we're starting to dry things out for most of the U.S. and especially here in Tallahassee, nice and dry through Tuesday. Rain chances work their way back in come Wednesday, Thursday.